Here's a truth most men never hear, and it might upset you at first. You cannot make a woman miss you by chasing her. You can't convince her with words. You can't negotiate attraction. And you definitely can't force interest by trying harder. Now, pause for a second because that probably goes against everything you've been told. Most men grow up believing that persistence is the key, that if a woman isn't interested, the solution is to add more effort, more texting, more explaining, more proving, more availability. They believe that desire is earned through consistency and relentless pursuit. But the reality is far more subtle and emotional. Attraction isn't logical, and effort alone rarely creates longing. In fact, it often diminishes it. In reality, that behavior doesn't create desire, it slowly destroys it. The men women miss the most are rarely the men who try to be missed. They're the men who live their lives in a way that naturally creates emotional space, curiosity, and contrast. These men maintain their own rhythms, priorities, and interests, which draws attention without trying. And this is the core idea of this video. Understanding that attraction operates on emotional patterns rather than logic or persistence. Chasing may feel proactive, but it often communicates neediness rather than presence. And that subtle difference is what determines whether you are unforgettable or forgettable. Welcome to Empowered Heart, where we uncover the truths about attraction, confidence, and emotional impact. Today, we're diving into why women don't miss men who chase, and how you can create presence, emotional weight, and magnetic absence. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Empowered Heart so you never miss insights that transform how you show up in life and love. Now, let's be very clear about something important. This is not about manipulation. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding how attraction actually works, especially when interest is low or uncertain. You see, women don't miss men because of logical reasoning. They miss men because of emotional impact. That impact is created by presence and absence, contrast and curiosity, and by how a man navigates life without needing approval. Emotional resonance can't be scripted. It emerges naturally from self possession, unpredictability, and living fully in the world. When a man embodies these qualities, he creates a pull that words alone cannot generate. This is where most men get it wrong. They think, if she's not interested, I should show her more of me. But attraction works in the opposite direction. Interest grows in the space between interactions, not during them. If she already knows what you'll say, if she knows you'll always be available, if she knows you're waiting, there's nothing for her to miss. True intrigue and longing come from contrast, unpredictability, and presence with restraint. Women don't miss attention. They miss the feeling they experienced when they were around you. That feeling is amplified by moments of absence, and it's those moments that allow her to reflect, to wonder, and to emotionally gravitate back toward you. Women don't miss constant attention. They miss the emotional experience you provide. Let me say that again because it matters. You are not missed because you stay. You are missed because you leave something unfinished. Emotional impact arises when your presence makes a mark and your absence leaves a question. This video will show you exactly how to do that without being disrespectful, without disappearing randomly, and without turning into someone fake. Real confidence is calm. It's quiet. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It simply exists and allows others to respond naturally. And this is where the power lies, even if she isn't interested right now. Curiosity can be sparked, and attention can be reclaimed. Interest is not a fixed decision, it's a moving emotional state. A woman may say she's not feeling it, but that doesn't mean she's immune to memory, emotional contrast, or curiosity. Nothing has challenged her emotionally yet, and that's where you step in, not to manipulate, not to convince, but to embody a presence that doesn't need validation. When you stop chasing, a subtle shift occurs. She realizes you're not trying to win her over, and that alone creates intrigue. The question, why doesn't he need this, is far more compelling than any compliment you could offer. It invites reflection, curiosity, and ultimately, emotional investment. Throughout this video, I'm going to show you 3 key shifts that change how women experience you emotionally. These shifts don't rely on clever lines, tricks, or manipulation. They rely on behavior, boundaries, and mindset. When applied consistently, you'll notice something remarkable. Even women who weren't initially interested begin to feel your absence, reconsider their assumptions, and reevaluate their perception of you. Not because you demanded attention, but because you stopped giving it away for free. If you've ever felt overlooked, friend zoned, or undervalued, this is your path to shift the dynamic. It's not about becoming colder, it's about becoming centered. 1. Stop being over available. Space creates desire. One of the biggest mistakes men make, especially when a woman isn't initially interested, is becoming too accessible emotionally, digitally, physically, or socially. Many men believe that being constantly available signals maturity, consistency, or care. But in reality, it communicates predictability, and predictability kills curiosity. When a woman knows you will always reply immediately, always agree, always wait, and always be present, regardless of how she behaves, your presence loses emotional weight. You become background noise instead of a compelling signal. Controlled availability, showing up selectively, and preserving emotional space is far more impactful than relentless pursuit. Think about it like this. If someone gives you unlimited access to something valuable, your brain begins treating it as common, and the perceived worth diminishes. Human psychology assigns value to scarcity, to things that are intentional, earned, and not endlessly available. This is not about manipulation. It's about understanding natural responses. When you are always available, tension disappears. And with tension, emotional engagement disappears as well. Pulling back calmly, without emotional reaction, creates the space for her mind to work. The shift is simple but profound. Instead of asking, how do I get her attention? You ask, how do I stop overgiving it? Attention is currency, and its value is maintained by restraint, not excess. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about pretending to be busy or acting unavailable. It's about living a life that's already full, rich, and purposeful. Men who are naturally missed aren't calculating their moves. They are focused, grounded, and fully engaged with their own priorities. Their lives don't revolve around one woman's responses or her emotional availability, and that independence is felt subconsciously. When a man is emotionally and practically invested in himself, he communicates power without a word. I enjoy your company, but I don't need you to feel complete, is the unspoken message, and that energy is magnetic. It's this subtle balance of interest without dependence that naturally draws women toward him. Here's where most men make the biggest mistake. When a woman pulls back, they lean forward. When she delays a reply, they accelerate their efforts. When she appears uncertain, they overexplain themselves. Every one of these reactions stems from fear, and fear, even when subtle, is detected. Rather than pulling her closer, it silently repels her. The man who creates space doesn't do it to manipulate or provoke a reaction. He does it because his life doesn't pause for uncertainty. By maintaining calm and consistent distance, he establishes emotional contrast, giving her room to wonder and feel. That combination of presence, absence, and self possession is what makes him unforgettable without forcing the connection. This is the part men often struggle with, letting silence do some of the work. Silence, when used confidently, is not rejection, it is restraint. Restraint signals strength, stability, and emotional independence. When you stop filling every gap with effort, you allow her emotions to surface naturally. If potential exists, curiosity grows. If not, you lose nothing because you never overinvested to begin with. This is a win-win. The goal isn't to be distant for its own sake. It's to be selective, show up intentionally, engage meaningfully, step back calmly when appropriate. That balance is what prevents you from being taken for granted and allows your absence to carry weight. That is when the feeling of being missed emerges. 2. Stop seeking validation. Needing approval pushes her away faster than almost any other behavior. Most men don't realize this, but it isn't saying the wrong thing that kills attraction. It's relying on her response to feel okay. You reread messages before sending, anxiously await replies, and let her reactions dictate your mood. That need is visible even when unspoken, and it communicates emotional dependence rather than security. Women instinctively sense the pressure to manage your emotions. That weight quietly diminishes attraction. The moment you place her above yourself, even subtly, desire fades. This isn't arrogance, it's biology and psychology. Attraction thrives on balance, not responsibility. Emotional dependence feels heavy. Independence feels magnetic. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. When you seek validation, you audition for her approval, and that undermines authenticity. You hesitate to disagree, soften opinions, over explain jokes, apologize excessively, or wait for signals before acting. Gradually, your personality is muted. When you stop being fully yourself, there's nothing for her to connect with and nothing to miss. The men women truly remember aren't those who prove their worth. They are at peace with themselves, regardless of her approval. That calm, grounded confidence is palpable and profoundly attractive. It means you no longer outsource your self-worth to someone else's reaction. You can like her without needing her approval. You can enjoy her attention without chasing it or tying your emotional state to it. You can walk away without resentment because your validation comes from within. That emotional independence is transformative. The moment she senses that you're not trying to impress, that you're not afraid to lose her, and that you're not performing for her approval, her perception shifts. Subtly, emotionally, not consciously. She relaxes around you, becomes more expressive, and invests more because there's no pressure to manage your feelings. Emotional independence feels safe light, and paradoxically magnetic. Most women are used to men who want something from them: attention, reassurance, approval, or validation. When a man doesn't require these things, it feels different. It feels lighter, freer, and far more attractive. You've likely experienced this in reverse yourself. When you stopped trying so hard, conversations flowed naturally. When you weren't striving to impress, your confidence rose. When you accepted any outcome, you became more relaxed. That's not coincidence, it's psychology. Letting go of validation stops your behavior from being driven by fear and opens space for authentic interaction. Instead of thinking, I hope she likes me, you shift to, I like who I am, and I'm curious how we connect. That one mindset shift removes pressure from every interaction. When pressure disappears, authenticity shows up. Authenticity, not performance, is what people remember. If a woman doesn't feel drawn to you when you're grounded, no amount of validation seeking will fix it. But when you stop needing approval, you give attraction room to develop naturally. Even if it doesn't lead to a relationship, you walk away with your confidence intact, already ahead of most men. A man who doesn't need validation doesn't chase interest. He creates a presence that feels solid, unwavering, and magnetic. That presence doesn't beg to be missed. It simply exists, and the emotional impact speaks for itself. 3. Build a life that has depth, direction, and momentum. Attraction isn't just something a woman observes, it's something she senses. Many men want to be missed without offering anything substantial in return. They want emotional impact without emotional substance, desire without direction, attention without meaning. That approach fails because a woman can only miss what has weight. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. If there's nothing happening in your life, you're easy to forget. Attraction grows when your life has gravity, momentum, and meaning. Women are drawn to men whose absence creates a gap because that gap signals purpose, direction, and engagement with life. Being nice, consistent, or available is not enough. These are basics, not foundations. Grounded men have structure, routines, standards, and goals. They don't boast about them, they live them. Many men spend years analyzing attraction online, memorizing tips, or obsessing over responses, yet they neglect their body, discipline, direction, and emotional regulation. Substance cannot be shortcut. Without it, absence creates nothing. Presence becomes forgettable. Real attraction demands intentional living. The men women truly miss aren't the ones who chase attention or overgive themselves. They are the ones who have a life of substance, who cultivate self-possession, and who engage with the world intentionally. They create emotional contrast naturally. Their absence is felt because it leaves a space that matters. Attention alone cannot create that effect. Effort alone cannot generate that longing. Being present with intention, building momentum in life, and remaining emotionally grounded are what generate resonance. That resonance is magnetic. It allows a woman to feel connection without forcing it. It ensures that when you step back, the emotional gap you leave is significant, noticeable, and compelling, drawing attention organically rather than manufactured. I'm going to end this section with a statement that may make some men uncomfortable, but if it does, it's probably meant for you. If a woman doesn't miss you, it's not because she's special. It's because the way you showed up was forgettable. That's a truth most men avoid facing. Not every woman who loses interest is playing games. Not every pullback is a test. Sometimes the issue isn't her, it's that you were too available, too agreeable, emotionally dependent, and directionless. You thought effort alone could create desire. It can't. Women don't miss men who try hard. They miss men who stand on something solid, men who have their own gravity. If you're honest, you already know this. You felt it before. The moment you stopped caring so much, things flowed better. The moment you focused on your life, attention came easier. The moment you pulled your energy back, people leaned forward. That wasn't luck, it was alignment. This video isn't about tricks, manipulation, or control. It's about something far more uncomfortable: taking responsibility for how you show up as a man. Stop chasing. Stop seeking validation. Start building a life with direction. When you do, everything shifts. Not just dating, but the way you carry yourself, the way you experience interactions, and the way the world perceives you. This isn't just content, it's a conversation. Many men face the same frustrations and silence, thinking it's only them. It's not. The moment you stop pretending and start understanding what truly creates emotional impact, everything changes. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be someone else. You just need to wake up to the truth. Attraction begins with how you live, not how hard you try. If this video hit close to home, say something. If you disagree, say why. If you recognize yourself, own it. Growth starts with honesty, and men willing to be honest with themselves are the ones who eventually stop being forgotten and start being truly missed. If this video gave you clarity and you're ready to take control of your presence, your life, and your confidence, hit that like button, subscribe to Empowered Heart for more insights, and comment unshakable below if you're committed to living with purpose and being the man who is truly missed.